You have one unheard message. First message.
Hi, Scott. This is Mom. It's about 1:45. Just wanted to know, I just got a call from Ron Cloward. He's at the marina, and it was a boat anchor. Of course, we knew it wasn't Laci, but I just wanted you to know. I'm going to call your house in case you don't get this message first. Bye.
Message erased.
You heard the, we're going to talk about that. Meantime, the investigator who set up the wiretaps on Scott's cell phone said that he initially thought Amber Frey might have had a hand in Laci Peterson's disappearance. But it's pretty clear after these phone calls that authorities' focus turned to Scott. Joining us now here in our New York studio is Anne Bremner, who's a criminal defense attorney. From San Francisco, Sarah Murray joins us. She's a jury consultant. And Fox News legal analyst Bob Massi joins us live from outside the courthouse in Redwood City. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. And Bob, let me start with you. These new rounds of phone conversations, more damaging than the Amber tapes?
Much more damaging. A good day for the prosecution yesterday, Rick, because, you know, the fact that he would go on and lie to his own mother-in-law, you know, he was in Fresno, Bakersfield within a 2-hour period, and then evidence that, in fact, he was in Berkeley sort of watching what was going on is very damaging. There was some good cross-examination on this conspiracy theory that you alluded to earlier on, that the wiretap was there for purposes of maybe Amber Frey involved. But it was a good day for the district attorney yesterday, surely.
And what do you make about these tapes? And we heard when Scott found out that the discovery was an anchor and not his wife's body. You know, I mean, I guess you could argue, Garagos could argue, he was relieved that his wife's body wasn't found, and maybe she's still alive.
That's exactly right. And if these are used in a way or argued to be great for the prosecution, which I think can be done, it's a brief and shining moment for the prosecution. It's momentary, because there's been a lot of mind-numbing days of tapes being played, and they kind of had a sneak attack of a great day of tapes, arguably, and then that day will be gone. It's probably gone as of today.
Sarah, in your experience with juries, how do they respond to when they listen to wiretapped phone conversations? Are they skeptical? Are they dubious? And how do you think the jury might respond to what they've been listening to in this case?
Well, I think different jurors respond differently, but I think there are some people who are going to be suspicious and always wonder if they're hearing everything, if they're hearing the whole story. Jurors are typically very concerned that they be given the whole of the evidence and want to be assured that that's the case. I think the key thing in the Peterson case is that initially the prosecution didn't do a good job of laying the groundwork of any kind of motivation.
Right.
And what's been happening with Amber Frey's testimony and with these tapes is that they're revealing a character who shows some pretty serious character flaws, and the fact that he lied to his mother, I agree with the other commentators, is much more significant than lying to somebody with whom you're having an affair, and you obviously need to cover up aspects of your life when you're a married man and have a different kind of life than you're leading your lover to believe.
Right. Bob,
So
let me ask you, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Sarah. I want to ask Bob to respond to a point that you just made about the prosecution, which seemed for a while like maybe it was floundering a little bit, but it seems perhaps that now it's coming on strong. Was this part of a prosecutorial strategy to save the best for last? What's going on?
Well, I mean, they're doing better, obviously. You know, as you know, Rick, in a criminal case, a defendant can't testify, but here you have a defendant wiretap that essentially, although it's not under oath, they're able to understand and hear this defendant and get a feel for the most important thing, Rick, for the state of mind at the time that this was all going on. You know, that's a different defendant than the one sitting in that courtroom today, and that's very significant and very difficult for this defense to overcome.
Right.
But those of us who are in the courtroom, that seems still a little disjointed. He needs to get him out to the scene where she was found, get the jury out there. They understand there's going to be 2 visits, potentially 2 potential field trips in this particular case.
Let me get Ann in here. What does Mark Garagos have to do to cast doubt about the latest tapes?
Well, basically I mean, I've lied to my mother before about what's in my savings account or whatever else. It's not the worst thing in the universe. I mean, it doesn't make him guilty. They're trying to say pathologically he's a lout. You know, that's what he is. But does that make him a murderer? No. Absolutely not. It's just mood music about this person, and that's it. And I think that he's already established when he picked this jury that just because you have cheat or do something bad doesn't make you a murderer. And this is a capital case, a death penalty case, and it's very serious with a burden of proof.
Sarah, real quickly, is that a tough leap for jurors to make? Someone can be a jerk, but they're not necessarily a murderer.
Well, I think it is. I think that Garagos is going to hit on the burden of proof, and the burden of proof in a criminal case is very high. It's beyond a reasonable doubt. And I'm not convinced myself from what I've seen of the evidence brought out that the prosecution has proved its case to that level.
Anne Bremner and Sarah Murray and Bob Massi out in Redwood City. Good to talk to all three of you. Thanks very much for being here. Coming up on Fox, Grand Ayatollah Ali al-Sistani arriving in the job. His mission here is to try to end that bloodshed